Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cheryl's Organic Food Forest. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how I make spicy tomato jam. The first thing I do is I select my tomatoes and I put them in boiling water for 2 minutes. And while the tomatoes are boiling in that boiling water for 2 minutes, I prepare my clean sink with ice water. Because immediately after I remove those tomatoes from the boiling water, I want to immerse them into the coldest water I can get, and you can obtain that by putting ice cubes in your sink. The tomato easily peels when you blanch it for 2 minutes and then plunge it into cold water. It's hard for me to do it with one hand, but I'm going to try to pierce this with my fingernail, and you can see that. You can see that the peel. You can see that the peel is easily coming off. Yeah. Right, Brian?
Right.
Okay. That's it, guys. Now, after I chopped up the tomatoes, I didn't add any liquid to it, and I put it on the stove and brought it to a boil. And this is what I added to the tomatoes. Now, here's what I added to those chopped and diced tomatoes. I added 1 cup of honey, and I added a lot of red pepper flakes, cumin, paprika, and cinnamon to taste. I also added 1 cup of organic lemon juice from my homegrown lemons and a half a cup of white vinegar. So here's the tomato jam that I'm making. I have to boil it for quite a while, stirring it occasionally. Well, actually, consistently. I can feel it thickening at the bottom. And, yeah, it's going to have to really reduce. And then it'll thicken up more after the liquid has evaporated. And it tastes wonderful. Tried it already. Okay, so 10 minutes later, I'm checking on the tomato jam, and you can see it was originally here, and I think it was like about right here when I videotaped it before, and it has reduced tremendously. So I'm gonna put the spoon here so you can get an idea how deep that is now. So that's not really deep at all, a couple inches. So I'm hoping we'll get a couple of pints out of here. I'll come back in a few more minutes. Okay, everybody, this has been cooking for 35 minutes. You would cook it for how long you determine you need to cook it, because it depends on how much water content is in the tomatoes, the type of tomatoes that you use. But for me, I used mostly Amish paste and a few of the heirloom Genevieve. And as you can see, I kept the seeds in there, but I removed the skin. And this is heavy. This is a nice, thick jam. And of course, we know that it will thicken up after it cools. So this is the consistency that I wanted. So now it's time for me to put them in my sanitized jars, lids, and caps, and then water bath can it. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, everybody. I was a beauty college director and educator for over 30 years. And after every lesson, whether it was a theory lecture or a practical demonstration, I summarized what I showed my students. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. The first thing you want to do when you make your tomato jam is to select your tomatoes, wash them, blanch them for 2 minutes, immediately put them in a cold water bath and peel the skins. Then you want to slice it up. Don't add any water, and at this time you will add your honey, all of your seasonings, your lemon juice, and your vinegar. And you want to bring it to a boil and then simmer it, constantly stirring the sauce or jam, and just keep reducing the liquid until you get it to the consistency that you want. Now, I cooked mine on medium heat for 35 minutes. You may need a shorter amount of time or a longer amount of time. Oh, yes, and I meant to say that you want to use about 12 medium-sized tomatoes, which will give you around 6 cups of chopped and diced tomatoes. Now, I used more than 12 tomatoes because I had to count some of them as 2 because the Genevieve tomatoes are very meaty but small. I recommend that you determine how much seasoning that you are going to use, but make sure that you add 1 cup of honey, 1 cup of lemon juice, and a half a cup of vinegar, white vinegar. So now here's the finished product. I ended up with 12 ounces of tomato jam, and I put 2 small containers and 2 pints. The ones right here, these will go in the refrigerator because they don't have the caps on them or lids on them, and these 2 right here, I can store them for up to a year or more in my pantry. Okay, this concludes how I make my tomato jam. At this time, I want to thank all of my subscribers. You've been very supportive of me. And if you're new to my channel, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you for watching. Bye now.